So you get this call from this company in Texas. Tell us a little bit about the history of Trammell Crow, how they got to where they are. And I'll give you sort of my perspective is when I started in this business in the 80s, there was Trammell Crow, there was Lincoln, and there was Hines.
Yeah.
And there were three Texas-based, originated development firms that had gone national. And they were all trying to do lots of different things. And they all look so very different today. So I'm really curious kind of how you see the firm's history and how it's evolved to where it is today.
Oh, sure. It started, Trammell was a poor kid from East Texas who married a young woman, went to the military, married a young woman whose parents died, and left her a grain business. Mm-hmm. And in 1948, he had some clients who needed some storage space, and he built an industrial building in Texas on Cole Street. We own it today, which is really cool to own that building. And he had half of it leased, and half of it was unleased. And he built it on spec, which wasn't done at the point in time. And he had success. And from there, by the 1960s, he had built, I don't know if it was the largest real estate development company in the United States, but it was amongst the largest real estate development companies in the United States. And he did that by partnering with people, young people all over the country, basically saying to them, you know, I will give you my balance sheet effectively, my relationships with banks, my personal guarantee. I will provide the financial underpinning. You go and find the opportunities and build the buildings. And by the 1960s, I don't know how many, dozens, if not hundreds of partners around the country, you know, building America's real estate and building wealth for themselves in a partnership model, not an employee model.
Right.
And that worked.
It's sort of the original operating partner with a capital source model, except that it was a single capital source.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, if you go to alignment, everybody was focused on their deals. But Trammell was an unbelievable human and a force of nature, and he was able to hold it all together because he built it, right? All of these people had such admiration and respect for him. I never met the man, so unfortunately I hear the stories. And
but he lives a bit through his son, Harlan.
Absolutely, no doubt. Yeah. Harlan's an unbelievable human being. And that business grew in the 60s, and it grew in the 70s, and it was, you know, very, very successful. But in those days, you would borrow 110 cents on the dollar for a building that you were going to build, and Trammell and the family went recourse on every loan. Well, for 30-odd years or 40-odd years, America was up and to the right.
Yeah.
And then in the late 80s, there was this thing called, after Reagan was elected, the Tax Reform Act, and then there was the S&L crisis, and it effectively took the company down. 5 IPOs were completed: Wyndham Hotel Company, BRE, Amley, Avalon. Yeah.
They were all spin-outs from
They were all, and then Trammell Crow Company, which was the last one done, and it was, at the time, a very small real estate services company. And that Harlan did. So Harlan took over the business fully I don't know if it was 1990 or around that time, and he and the team at the time restructured hundreds of partnerships, right? Wow. Executed these IPOs and got to the other side. And the other side was, by the late 90s, he had a portfolio of owned real estate and owned Trammell Crow Residential, the multifamily development company, which survived this period of time.
So the owned real estate and the development company were still on balance sheet for the Crow family.
Correct. That's what came out of it after this, you know, massive sprawling enterprise.
Right. I remember going to the ULI conference in those days, and just everybody so depressed and walking around, and it was a mess. There was a lot of mess.
I wasn't there. I was in the business, but I didn't. I started in the business in '94, but that happened, and that changed everything. And Harlan, first of all, that he pulled that off is truly unbelievable. But ultimately, when he was completed with that, you know, his view was never again. And what never again meant was, I'll never again be fully invested in one asset class, right? I'll never again be...
Was it all...
It was all real estate. The family owned nothing.
But it was office...
But they did everything. I mean, over that history, there is not an asset class. There is not a sector that they were not active in, from hospitals to industrial buildings to retail buildings to apartment buildings to office buildings.
Wow.
They covered the full gamut. And so it was, okay, let's reshape the company from a very different risk profile.
Right.
And that started in 1998. The first real estate private equity fund was raised. So the company was a developer, only a developer up until that point in time. But the family had now an own portfolio of real estate, and they had talent around that, and they wanted to provide opportunity for that talent, and they wanted to grow that business. And so to do so, the family raised a fund in 1998. I think it was roughly $275 million. And that was the first, value-add diversified fund, and started the real estate investment management business, which today is in the scheme of today's world, a mid-sized, real estate investment management firm in the United States, headquartered in Dallas with 100 people in it, and partners in the United States and all around the world.
So you are CEO of all the lines of business, or explain the different lines of business that you're head of.
So Crow Holdings, the parent company, yes, I'm the CEO of it. The way I look at it, there are 5 business lines.
Okay.
One is we are like an endowment or foundation. We invest in stocks and bonds and private equity, and we're an LP or a beneficial interest owner in those things, and we have a large portfolio that we manage for ourselves, and that provides stability, and it provides liquidity, and it provides diversification. And then given what went through, never again will never happen. And that is a very large portion of our overall balance sheet, for lack of a better word.
Balance sheet, right.
But that's a business, and it is managed, and it's a really interesting business.
How many people are in that business?
Well, around that business, we built, it was announced today or yesterday in a press release, in 2010, the small team of people that were managing that for the Crow family, or Crow Holdings at the time, they wanted to begin to do that work for other families. And over the past 13 or 14 years, built a multifamily office or a wealth management firm that grew up. And so that's 41 or 40 people. And today it was announced that business merged with a larger RIA, I guess you call it, but a larger firm. And so it's part of another organization as of today. And those people manage our wealth and lots of other people's wealth.
So you sold the business to this other entity?
Correct.
Okay.
And your listeners can look it up and Google it.
Okay.
And so that and that team is going to continue to manage our wealth, and we're investors in this company, and we're partners with it. And I don't want to spend all day talking about it, but that's one part of our business. The second part is we still own assets, properties that Trammell or Harlan has built over the years that are very large and very significant, and each one of them is its own business. And there's not a big team at Crow Holdings that manages, but there's teams at each property, and I'm responsible for that. The third business is an energy business that we've started in the past several years. It's obvious from my perspective, America's need for energy is growing, and we can talk about all the reasons why. And it's going to be provided by multiple sources. And so we started a solar development company because it's a lot like real estate development. And it's very clear the mega trends are there. And so we have a team of people that is developing solar in 4 or 5 states as we speak, and battery storage. And that's a business we're growing. And then we also, in the traditional energy space, and we are headquartered in Dallas, Texas, and we have pretty unique access to people and insights. We have a traditional energy business today in Texas and New Mexico, where we're
just oil and gas.
Oil and gas business.
Yeah.
And so and those are 2 teams and 2 businesses within the energy business. So that's the third business line, energy. The fourth business line is the real estate investment management business, which is the one I just shared with you, started in 98. The guy who runs that, Bob McLean, has been with us 35 years. Yeah. He was a retail leasing agent, started out as for us.
The best training.
Yeah, unbelievable. And that's a terrific group of people, and that's an industry I come from specifically, so I understand it well and spend a lot of my time in it because it's an area I'm comfortable in, as you can imagine. And then we have the real estate development business, which today we're one of the largest developers of apartment buildings in the United States and one of the largest builders of industrial real estate in the United States. And then I would say we have a boutique, for lack of a better word, office development business that we actually started right at the beginning of COVID.
We should talk about that.
Yeah, no, I have lots of views on that on that business. And so those are the 5 things that we're doing today. So, and
you're the CEO, and is there a board that runs that you report to, or what's the management?
Yeah, we do. It's on our website as well. We do have I think technically it's an advisory board, but it's a board of incredible individuals, folks in our industry. People like Bill Walton's on our board, and Mark Gibson's on our board, and Don McNamara's on our board. I'm just talking about real estate people. And great insights and wisdom and advice and help. And I'm so grateful to have them on my side helping me.
Yeah, well, you have a very full plate. One of the really interesting things is there are very, very few privately held real estate investment management firms left after 30 years of development in this business, right? Of growth in the business. And you're really one of the very few, which is one of the many reasons I wanted to have this conversation. But it's hard to do it with just your own balance sheet, and both in terms of just the amount of capital that's needed to be successful at it, but also succession planning and making sure you keep a motivated team and are able to keep growing internally.